Dear friends, you can hear the soundtrack from the Gladiator Elysium component from the other room at a safe range so that my video does not get shut down for copyright reasons. I'm going to tell you more about the history of the Roman Empire, the Bible fraud, the Rothschild involvement, and Miss Hannah Rothschild becoming a speaker and director at the Hay Film Festival, right in the hub of the massive Anglo-Saxon Roman scams. 55 BC, the Catullus stuff and all of the Calpurnius Piso myths are spread all over the nation of Great Britain. That's the Brits, and all of it is the nomenclature for the Bears and the Rothschilds as they take over the whole world and the Hay Film Festival. And that's the River Wye, and the territories are all carved up using the Roman roads, and it's still prevalent even today. Okay, so where do we start? I don't want a clash of music. Can you hear the lovely music from, read in Latin, and it's a Latin song, that one. I believe Annie Lennox was the author, was the composer. It's the Lennoxes of Brussels, Richmond and the Battle of Waterloo. Right, so where do we start? I want to show you how ludicrous the whole world is. And this is the Rothschilds. This is the Rothschilds' balance sheet, and tax statement for all of world history. This page. There it is. The Rothschilds by Frederick Morton. No taxes, no accounts, no commitment to the nation. Everything is run as a trust. It's the National Trust now. There's the book. There's the Longshanks joke. Longshamps for the racehorsey people, who are assembled in my town today. I'm going to meet them, and I'm going to tell you the horrendous story about all of the Roman roads and the sirens in Cirencester. Okay, Frederick Morton, the Rothschilds. No taxes, no declaration, no accounts, and now with the companies called RIT, the asset stripping of everything that was British. Right up to Harold Wilson with the Pi Piso pipe. Okay, it's a long story. The treason is in every war and in every revolution. That's biblical Northampton, Dryden, the Napoleonic parole, death camps for the ordinary people are the elite places that are Northampton, they are Melrose in Scotland. They're all over the country, and all of them are at the ends of the Roman roads that I'm going to profile. Okay, and Napoleon's second in command is one of the people that is chosen to be placed in those elite spark points for world leadership right up to this very day, Miss Hannah Rothschild, Hay on Wye. Okay, and here's the Piso cavalry that have got members from those elite communities joining them. That is the masters of the horse, and that's why I'm making this video quickly, so I can see some of the horsey people. At Guy Ineos, Jesus Cares, Floors Castle. Okay, and here's the places near Northampton where I used to fish, and all of the messages that I get from God, and my wife flying into the hedges when we were fishing in those massive lakes that were created all over the massive estates of the Roman legacy that is Great Britain. Okay, and the irony of that is that Germany was never conquered by Rome, and now they are the owners of all of it. That's the Windsor family, yeah, the Windsors, the Windsor World Wars, with the Rothschilds quietly tucked away with their accounts. Yeah, every war, every conflict, all sides, yeah, all the war dead continue to allow them to profit. And sadly, Miss Marielle, yeah, Miss Marielle, former Duchess of Roxburgh, is also in that sector with her links into Michael Ancram and those massive war dead finance streams that they run. King's Own Scottish Borders, and the school in Pathhead, where the Duke of Westminster has a massive mansion, and all of it's coming out. Maybe not in this video. Okay, there's another reservoir, Ravensthorpe, all of them massive Roman road hubs for the cabal that becomes the world owners. Yeah, led by the Pi Piso, with the Pittsford, and all the Pi words are all the way through the story. Okay, and then there's links to the Renton families in Scotland. I can't remember what that is, and the Publius Pisos come in again and again, and Exeter, where my wife was registered with the Botham families, and all of the treasonous people. Yeah, that is at the bottom of one of the Roman roads. Yeah, and it is where the Pi Pilgrim Fathers assemble before they go to America and create the YMCA there. And every one of the Indians gets culled, and that's the Soldier Blue joke. Yeah, and she wore a yellow Rothschild ribbon for John Wayne in the American culls. Yeah, so the Roman roads take you right into New Zealand and Dave Dobbin, and the Doe bunnies are the Easter bunnies. They are the bunny in the Monty Python's Billy Connolly joke, that bunny in that cave is more dangerous than anything else on the whole of the world. Yeah, that is where near Cirencester the Roman roads meet. Yeah, it is where the Hay Film Festival is convened, and now run by Hannah Rothschild. Let me show you that tab. She's a really clever woman. She is, in her own imagination I believe, the fifth element. Because she helped the family that were the directors of the Fifth Element movie to make that film. Let me read that transcript from it. Okay, Hannah Rothschild steps into a rich world of imagination. Oh, and here it is. Okay, so she's made those films about all of the love life and Peter Mandelson's heroic activities in the genocides in Iraq. Yeah, where the Rothschild Trust, they've changed the location. Okay, and she runs the Watteau art gallery stuff. They run also the sales places called Sotheby's for the fine art, and the Freuds that are involved with the sectioning of Prince Philip's mother, yeah, from Greece. All of them are in the drinking club for the Prime Minister in Chipping Norton, where my wife lived and our brother got his OBE from. Okay, so where is, okay, here it is. After a distinguished career writing all of those prize-winning books and picking up the prizes in Hay on Wye, you'll see that. Yeah, she signs there all of the books that she's produced. Yeah, and that is a continuation of the New World Order author's output. That's Winston Churchill, Hitler, Rothschild himself. All of them win prize-winning books. Yeah, Obama has not done that yet, but he gets the Peace Prize. And the Pi name is all the way through it. Yeah, that's the parrots and the pies. Pi, Piso, Bible fraud. They've got Jesus' relics in Wadston Manor. Okay, and her father Jacob is in the family business. But this is the bit that caught my eye. After a distinguished career that has taken her from the BBC, where she has made several films, that's the British Broadcasting Corporation, the Benai birth Israeli linkage, and yesterday they're on the front page of the papers that are owned by the Rothschilds, because they're all drawing massive salaries. Yeah, and I've explained to you that all of the people that I've written to, yeah, that are massive celebrities there, all of them are now complicit in the war crimes in Iraq that I've described. I've got all the director numbers. That's Chris Evans, the actor that plays King Juan Carlos when King Juan Carlos cannot walk along the pavements, is now pretending that he is Chris Evans on the front page of the British papers. Okay, so Hannah made several films about auction houses, yeah, Sotheby's that they own, and lost artworks, yeah, and she's the one that laughs at the joke about being Dorian Gray, and she's looking ever so crusty now to scripting movies for Ridley Scott, yet the man from the Humber region where another lot of the Pilgrim Fathers sailed from, yeah, through the Welsh connection to the places that are affiliated to Prince Philip's family. Okay, so Ridley Scott is a colleague, and Hannah writes for glossy magazines and making documentary features. Rothschild now works with her 70-year-old father. Okay, so she scripts the movies for Ridley Scott. That's the fifth element, coming from the gods into ancient Egypt, where the Pharaoh bloodlines are the Rothschild jokes about Gunnersbury, and Arsenault the Pharaoh is the Arsenal joke, and the Gunners is the nickname for Arsenal in London, and they sing the song every home and away game. He's got a pineapple on his head. Yeah, all of it is coming out, Hannah. Yeah, best to get on side and save your reputation. You're a very articulate woman. Use it to help the people to take our countries back to safety and peace and prosperity. This is how they celebrate things at the moment. Yeah, it's absolutely sickening. The Freemasons understand all wars are entirely engineered for these people to profit, and they're quite happy to kill their kids that way. Every great conflict, Arthur Hastie, Jim Telfer and the Melrose Freemasons, in those horrible pretend that you are fleeing from Napoleon when you're a rich elite person who's come to take over the whole of Scotland. Yeah. Okay, so this is Rolf Harris singing about the Roman Empire and all of the derivatized jokes that becomes, yeah, at the expense of any accurate world history. All of it is just a Freemasonic joke. This is Rolf Harris, that's Bomber Harris, that is Harris's, the owners of Butlins, and they are the Aryan master race. Okay, I don't know why it's taking so long to warm up. But because Miss Rebecca Brooks and British Intel are in Rothschild hands too, then that is the explanation. Okay, it's not gonna let me play Rolf Harris singing about the massive jokes about the Roman noses and the powdered noses and all of the harems and all of the Mithraeum concept that is the Roman underworld, even when the Romans were based in Bristol, yeah, and in Cirencester. There are two hubs in ancient Rome, 55 BC, when Julius Caesar was here, yeah, same initials, yeah, they were Cirencester and Londinium, yeah, the dragon and the whore of the world, Miss Valerie Jane Lees, who understands all of these jokes because she gets trained in them in Intel. It's not going to let me play the court of, might be prepared, yeah, to show how buffoonish the whole world is still. Yeah, this is King Caractacus, the Saxon king from the Bristol region. Yeah, where Cirencester is, right on the edge of the Cotswolds with the Roman bath that me and my innocent family used to bathe in. Everywhere that God sends me is a message. And there are some really lovely innocent people from Cirencester that I met exactly 1 year ago today. I'm hoping to meet them again today. Okay, it's not gonna play yet. This is the state that our world is in. Rolf Harris is a cover. Oh, here we go. Right then. So, this is at the beginning of the video in case they take me down. Or we could just play it. Let's play it without showing you the footage of it. Yeah, this is Rolf Harris with the squeeze box. Yeah, and all of the jokes about the three-legged man, Jake the Peg, are the Freemasons globally. Yeah, that's the mummers in Ireland. On the Isle of Man, the three legs are the icon for the tax haven. Yeah, and everywhere they have a tax haven, like the Isle of Man, Jersey, Guernsey, and all of the places that Miss Valerie Jane Lees' mum are the holiday homes for. Yeah, all of them are tax havens run by Butlins. Yeah, with the man who's the horse owner registered in Butlins last year when he won the Grand National. This year's Grand National winner is to cover up my stories about the revolutionaries, yeah, called Mullins, that were prepared to take the Rothschilds on and ended up in asylum because of that. Okay, Rolf Harris, the court of King Caractacus. What can I show you instead? Yeah, that's what he's holding. No, he's not holding the guitar with the strings and the puppets on the end of them. He's holding his squeeze box. Yeah, they're not going to play it. This is the state that our world is in, run by the Freemasons, like all wars, and the Freemasonic icon, as Rolf Harris is well aware, was the swastika, until Hitler Rothschild despoiled that reputation. Okay, it's only 2 minutes 46 seconds long. What shall we do for the rest of the ad? Okay, let's get on to the thing. When Rolf kicks in, we'll show you, we'll listen to the music, and we'll instead go to the more embarrassing for them statistics on how the history has been twisted by people just like Rolf Harris and all of the people that get knighthoods and Nobel Prizes for being authors. Okay, so this is Biblical Northampton, the tab. Not going to open that either. Page unresponsive. Okay, so there's the Rothschilds account again. It will not allow me to move away from that. There it is. Frederick Morton, the Rothschilds. Let's see if we can find the statement again. They'll probably allow us to play Rolf Harris if we daub on the world's owners. Longshanks. The two big banks in London and Paris, probably the world's largest private financial institution, and Baron Edsmond's huge business headquarters in the French capital, have not so much as a nameplate outside. Though they control scores of industrial, commercial, mining and tourist corporations, not one bears the name Rothschild. Being privately held partnerships, the family houses never need to and never do publish a single public balance sheet or any other report of their financial condition. On the social side, Rothschild means society with an S, superbly softly capital. In Europe, where snobbery is measured on a more languid scale than America, a mere 4 generations of wealth do not inevitably entitle family to a place at the very heart of fashion. That's the fraud that I've reported in my last 2 videos on the Rothschilds family tree being trucked truncated to take out all of the Burt Bacharach characters and all of those sleazy jokes about the rotten roses that are their family right back in medieval times. Yeah, and the launch of the 100-acre patches of land that are carved up, and all of it is now owned by them. And this is the politics that they deploy. Yet this man is in police prisons because he's alleged to be a paedophile.
Oh yeah! Because we're just passing by. Oh, now the thing of the golden king directing us to you. We're just passing by. Oh, the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. Yeah, the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. If you're not sure of words, just move your mouth and talk. Now we have now the noses on the faces of the ladies of the golden king directing us. Just passing by. All together, clap the noses on the faces of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. Oh, we're just passing by. Oh, the noses on the faces of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. Oh, we're just passing by. Yeah, the noses on the faces of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. Now the fascinating pictures of the scintillating stitches in the breeches of the lords that put the powder on the noses of the raisins of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. All together, what the fascinating pictures of the scintillating stitches in the breeches of the lords that put the powder on the noses of the raisins of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. Now the fascinating pictures of the scintillating stitches in the breeches of the faces of the harem of the golden king. Well, try with me. We're just passing by. Now the fascinating pictures of the scintillating stitches in the breeches of the boy with the powder on the nose, faces of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us. We're just passing by. Now if you want to take some pictures of the fascinating pictures of the scintillating stitches in the breeches of the boy with the powder on the nose of the faces of the ladies of the harem of the golden king directing us, you're too late.
So do you get
Because they've just passed by.
So that's King Caractacus and the Romans. Yeah? Huge belly laugh for the Masons globally, like the swastika. Yeah, and this is the Dryden tab. It's taken ever so long for everything. And there's Princess Diana, who lived in Northampton, where one of those internment camps for the elites from the Napoleonic War was held. I'm going to have to show you that first before the rest of it makes any sense. This is the Dryden lineage that were helping the Mayflower to spread the Christian word all across the pagan nation that was North and South America. Yeah, massive empires and civilizations long before we created ours. We've never gotten there yet. Okay, this is John Dryden, one of the New World Order writers. Okay, I've not got anything for him. I'm not going to waste any time. All of these are links to Lady Di's at Northampton. Yeah, Althorpe is very, very close to where that camp was for the people that fought for Napoleon, then deserted and then become the leaders in our democracy in the other side of the channel. Okay, so let me show you the Napoleonic camps. Yeah, I could never remember the names of them all, but there are more than I had figured for. Okay, so this is the camp. Okay, and this is the catcher's mitt joke in the camps. All of the camp design is the same as the Great Escape movie. and you will think it's quite shocking, yeah, when I reveal it to you. All of it I've known since my website was published round about 2012. Okay, yeah, when they first tried to have me sectioned, yeah, and all of it is coming out now. This is Norman Cross, yeah, which is the place in Northamptonshire that is the massive internment centre for 5,000 people. Yeah, that's 5,000 elite people out of the massive estates in France and all of the places, including Augsburg, that Napoleon's armies visited, so that they could despoil all of those old places, and then these elite families that are immune from risk through all of world history can take over the rest of the Western world. Yeah, it's absolutely sickening. And all of the most treasonous of them become the second in command. Yeah, and Napoleon is related to Louis XIV, and it is a massive scam. Yeah, there is a plan. There is the Pittsford place where I used to fish all of the time. All of them get buried in water, so all of the history of that place becomes a closed secret. Yeah, massive mansion for some of the elites even now, that I wish I knew who the homeowners were. Yeah, they will be related, no doubt, to the people that run the scams. Okay, plan of Norman Cross Barracks and Prison in 1813. Yeah, so that was it at the top, and you'll see further down how more familiar the design is as we get nearer and nearer to Steve McQueen dying really young because of his role in that massive joke about the Great Escape being for the profiteers on both sides, same as the Colditz story I told you yesterday. Norman Cross lies near Peterborough. Yeah, that's the non-existent St. Peter. Yeah, and it gave its name to 100. Yeah, and that is the hundreds that the Rothschilds run as the bears carve up the whole of the nation, and that is John de Beer and all of the rolls of Hertfordshire and Gloucestershire, where the Peel horse masters still are. That's the Vesties. Okay, from 1894 to 1974, this was the Norman Cross Rural District. It was the site of the world's first purpose-built prisoner of war camp, or depot, built during the Napoleonic Wars by the Navy. Yeah, that's the Royal Britannia Navy that conquers the whole world in the name of Queen Elizabeth II. Yeah, and the massive, the biggest empire, even compared to the Roman one that we're going to profile for most of this video. Okay, so there is the design and the construction. Can you see the tall inspection houses outside, tiny little huts in the middle? Yeah, and all of those places that in the Nazi regime were heavily armed with weapons made by the Krupps and all of the British profiteers. Yeah, the de Havilland story out of Hertfordshire University, which was just, yeah, the local polytechnic when I was down there. Okay, and here's the Abercrombies in 1796 transferring 4,000 prisoners there from the West Indies. Yeah, so that's the elites that become the celebrities and the figureheads, and all of world history is twisted. Yet now they become the orphans in all of those campaigns in Africa, so that they can be sent back to the impoverished nations that they came from to be the leaders of those nations and slaves to the Rothschilds and the rest of the world owning Illuminati family. The site was chosen because it was on the Great North Road, only 76 miles. That's the 13 indication that this is a major transition in policy making. It is the launch of globalism and all of the world leaders being traitors to their country. Alex Salomon Rothschild, yeah, and Nicholas Sturgeon Snapper. Yeah, they have on YouTube, they have not given me the thumbnail for that video, that declares that the Rothschilds are the owners of Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon. They've left it, yeah, being a picture of a fish like a sturgeon. Yeah, that is YouTube, another treasonous action. Yet they are complicit in all of the crimes, in the closing and censoring of my Bill Clinton videos, on the massive suppression of the whole world with the global warming scam. Okay, yeah, so that's the Great North Road, only 13 miles from Londinium. Yeah, 500 carpenters, all of them are Piso numbers. Yeah, that's the 500. 50 in the Great Escape is the number of people that were killed. Yeah, that is more accurate as 50 million people that were killed in that massive cull of the poor people. Okay, so 500, the Piso code number, and labourers worked on the site for 3 months, and I believe that is the Piso code number for Chi. Let's see, Phi. Okay, yeah. And all of it is that. So that is the sorority numbering system in America. That's the Phi, Kappa, Alpha, this, that and the other, and all of the American jokes. Okay, there's all the coded biblical code. The Phi with the fanny and cock up the middle is the Piso code initials for 500. Okay, so the icon for Phi is there. It's right at the bottom. Sorry, it's there, and it's a circle, which is the vagina, with a stick up it, which is the cock. Yeah, and that is all of the way that the world is run, typified by Rolf Harris's songs. The cost of construction was £34,000 in Napoleonic days. Yet the design of the prison was based on that of a contemporary artillery fort, a ditch 27 feet deep to prevent prisoners tunnelling out from the Great Escape plot was placed inside the wall, originally a wooden stockade fence, replaced with a brick wall in 1805. Yeah. And here is the interior of the prison was divided into 4 quadrangles, each with 4 double-storey wooden accommodation blocks for 500 prisoners. Isn't that funny? Yeah, if you're a Piso codester, and 4 ablutions blocks. That's if you need a pie piss, by the way. Okay, and that's where they dug the tunnels from in the movie about and there is showers and Juden gas. Okay, and that is the jokes for all of the Nazis and all of the Schindler's List film. And in the story about the Rothschild family getting their knighthood for stealing the Bank of England, that is when Nathan Mayer Rothschild was allowed to have the whole of his mockery of the working people that died in all of their conflicts by going down on his knees turned into a Technicolor movie. One accommodation block was reserved for officers. Isn't that a surprise for the Colditz victims who end up legless, yeah, like the Duke of Buccleuch, the dad of the current one, yeah, all of his life in a wheelchair. Yeah, now that we have prosthetic limbs, they have launched the whole of the Paralympic Games, so the surviving bloodlines can junket round the world. There's the catcher's mitt for him, yeah, and all of the design of that compound is exactly the same as that which you saw above. Okay, so there was also a windowless block known as the Black Hole, in which so that is for him the cooler, you remember it, in which prisoners were kept shackled on half rations as punishment mainly for violence towards the guards, although 2 prisoners were sent to the Black Hole for infamous vices. Yeah, that's 30 wells were sunk, and all of those are Piso code 1 numbers. So the 50 that got shot means none, yeah, in the Bible story, and that is the nuns in the in the Sound of Music film. Yeah, as they escape over the Alps, as he's trying to do there. Okay, isn't it funny? Exactly the same template. There is what is left of Norman Cross, yeah, and they've got the catcher's mitt on the yeah, the cloven hoof joke right above it when you see the aerial photos. Okay, and here we're going to go down, and I think there's a more explicit, there's the catcher's mitt. So this is pie interest, and that is also associated with the reservoir that is Pittsford. Yeah, all of the places. My wife fell in the hedge, yeah, as she was stropping with me. All of that, and she was badly stung by the nettles. Every time those things happen, I can now relate to what the gods are trying to tell me. Yeah, so you see the cloven hoof, yeah, and that is the catcher's mitt in the film. It's a massive set of interlocking jokes. Yeah, and this is all launched. There is the model of Normanton Cross by M. Fowley in the Musée de l'Armée in Paris, which is immune from risk in all wars, because all of the women are there, yeah, to keep the men cajoled with their silk stockings, and that's why Mrs. Simpson went there in World War II. Yeah, with the royal king, all of it totally premeditated to cull 50 million people. Yeah, and you cannot see the likeness to the camp on that one, but there's a better one further down. The average prisoner population in this one camp was about 5,500 men, and they get sent all over the world, yet to become the elite rulers, and Renee and Georgia Magritte walking their god on the end of the lead after the war. The lowest number recorded was 3,300 in October 1804. All of those will be Freemasonic numbers, yeah, like the ones that were told about King Arthur, yeah, about him killing 1,500 men single-handedly in the combat zone. Yeah, it's all a huge joke. Yeah, and if you're a Mason, you understand it for all of your life. You have to keep paying so that you dare not open your mouth, or you will be killed by your brothers. Yeah, 6,272 on 10th April 1810 was the highest number of prisoners recorded in any official document. About 100 senior officials. Now listen to this. This is the telling bit. This is the Colditz equivalent. About 100 senior officers and some civilians of good social standing, in inverted commas, mainly passengers on captured ships and the wives of some officers, were given parole. Yeah, parole d'honneur. Yeah, that is the equivalent of the Iron Cross, or the cross that is given. Yet it's the religious cross joke for all of the sad bastards that run the religious fraud all over the world, outside the prison, mainly in Peterborough, although some as far away as Northampton, Pye, Plymouth, yeah, Melrose, Abergavenny in Wales. Yeah, all of the nations are treasonous. That is the Five Nations Rugby Championship becomes the Six Nations Rugby Championship, and the man Paris is part of the Do Bunny jokes, because the Roman roads are partially named after Parisi, yeah, and that is the ancient Latin names for them. And when I was an altar boy, I remember that the services before that I joined were read and heard in Latin. Lovely romantic period. Now everything translated into new English jokes about the same story, and there are the massive Roman roads that take you from Melrose. Yeah, the one that runs through our region is called Deer Street. Yeah, and the one that runs at that angle is Foss. Yeah, and that's the Foss, the stopping of Braveheart in his tracks. Yeah, in York, and all of the places on Humberside where the pilgrims are recruited from, all of them sail to Pye, Plymouth, down the Roman road, yeah, and then across on the Mayflower, yeah, chatting to Franklin D. Roosevelt and Julian Callum Lamont, yeah, sorry, de Lamonts, and all the Dutch mafias from the Flemish coast, yeah, and that's the Flemings from the Flemish coasts, yeah. There's the other roads across to Peterborough that you've just seen mentioned, and Cirencester, and the Hay Film Festival is down here. That's a horrendous story. I'm going to get to that if I can, so let's keep moving. They were afforded the courtesy of their rank, Alistair Brooks and all of the Dukes of Buccleuch and all of those people that my dad worshipped, including the dad of the rugby player at London Scottish, yeah, who spent the whole of his life legless in the Borders region, right next to the Abbotsford people and the people that come from the Test and Itchen Valley, yeah, that are affiliated to the people called Rice, with the massive fishing ownership issues, yeah, and all of them have had heart attacks. It's just amazing what God does to the bad people. Okay, they were afforded the courtesy of the rank within the prison, yeah, that's the Batman with you, and that is the British American tobacco joke that I've placed all over my Facebook pages, because the simple people of this country do not get it. Some with good private means hired servants, and often, yeah, that's the Batman joke, with the baldric hanging over his shoulder, which is like the scarf, but you wear it at an angle, and often dined out while wearing full uniform. The stories about the Battle of Waterloo and the taking over the bank, yeah, but inverted in this case to make them look like good guys. They were at Waterloo in their pinstriped or tuxedo, yeah, dinner suits, because they had been partying to celebrate everything that they knew was going to happen. 3 French officers died of natural causes while on parole and were buried with full military honours. 4 French officers and 5 Dutch officers married English women while on parole. Yeah, the way to get it done. Yeah, all over the pagan world. The most senior officer on parole from the prison was General Charles Lefebvre Desnouettes, yeah, and he's got a tab to his own, we'll get to it soon, okay, who resided with his wife in fucking Cheltenham, the race course, yeah, all over Britain, yeah. And if we can read down that list, and there's many more. I did not have time or, yeah, the space. You can only put 10 places on here. So Northampton, Pittsford, Norman Cross, Abergavenny, Northampton, Peterborough, Sandringham, Plymouth, Melrose, yeah, all in those direct straight lines, yeah, like the Maginot Line, right up and down. The whole world is carved up in a treasonous way like this, and when I show you the people that get paroled, you will then totally understand the whole of it is lethal. I think that's probably all that I've highlighted there. Okay, so we're into Catholic priests and Baptists and all of it, bishops of Moulins and Stiltons, yeah. Yeah, all of it is a massive joke, and all of these are the people that fight for both sides in all wars so that they can profit, they can build their estates, they can build massive houses, yeah, in all of the places where the really loyal people just get gunned down. Okay, so here's Napoleon's second in command. Yeah, and I've told you about the Elkinen Rothschilds. Yeah, it's directly cover for that. Okay, this one became captain and aide-de-camp to General Napoleon Bonaparte. Yeah, gets into those internment camps and then becomes the war hero. Okay. Napoleon's, and he was actually Napoleon's Batman. That's the British American tobacco joke, right into World War II and right into Colditz. Died in his bed with an erect sugar loaf in USA. The sugar loaf is his penis, and all of the cock-like structures in every graveyard all over the war are that joke. Yeah. Okay, and the sugar loaf was one of the early buildings in London, I believe. Yeah, just a massive piss take about the Rothschilds' owns financial centres looking like a cock. And that takes you right back into Etruscan Italy. Okay, I don't know what his name translates as, because Google Translate would not allow me to translate it. It's probably something quite sinister or sexually deviant. Yeah, so he became the aide-de-camp to General Napoleon Bonaparte. That's the Bono, yeah, the people that marry Madonna, because they are the Bonos that are the Piso family members when they were still in Naples. For over 2 years, Lefebvre Desnouettes remained a prisoner in England, living on parole at Cheltenham. Giddy up, GGs, for the Piso family. In 1811, he broke his parole, an act which greatly offended British public opinion, and escaped in the invasion of Russia. Yeah, so they could take that over. Yeah, 3 years before Waterloo. The whole of Russia, the whole of the bloodlines, yeah, and all of Queen Victoria's illegitimate bastards all over the world. Extremely beautiful, like the ones that have joined me this week on Facebook and want to talk to me with an American accent. Yeah, all of it is understood by the Yanks, and now they, oh, here's the thing that we just mentioned. Okay, that is Monument over the Victims one. So this is the Sugarloaf. You get it? Yeah, that one appears to have been had its foreskin removed. Yeah, and there's the Quatre Bras joke, and the Battle of Waterloos are just months away. There's the middle name for Kelly Clarkson, my greatest hero, which is the Beerian joke. Yeah, where he was wounded in the Battle of Beerian. All of it is the massive cause of death that is false religion. At the Battle of Waterloo he was wounded. Okay, so let's go down, and here's how they botch things and deliberately, yeah, make the innocents die in millions on the battlefields. All over the place they botch things, which is why Winston Churchill became Prime Minister after he was thrown out of the War Office for botching things. Okay, and this is the naming of botching is based on his career. The top 20 French cavalry commanders. Number 8 is General Charles Lefebvre Desnouettes. And let's just go down until we find his colleague who botched the battles. Okay? And his wife is in the Pont de Neuf district of Paris, where his father ran a drapery of curtains. Yeah, I've explained to you the curtain linkages to the Sound of Music Sist's film. Yeah, and to all of the gold rush, where curtain is a figure in the massive movie where the stinking badges are used to show that the invaders are the owners of that country and make the rules, and all of the people that were the Aztecs have been replaced since the Welsers and the Fuggers and the Rothschilds of Bavaria funded the asset stripping of their continent. He was made assistant to Napoleon when he became Premier Consul. So do you get the Batman joke now? There is his baldric. Yeah? There is his iconic symbol that every policeman in our country and all across the globe is the Piso Police badge. Yeah? 2 of them in this case, because he's working for both sides. Yeah? Okay, so is promoted to General de Brigade in 1806, with Waterloo just 9 years away, and General de Division in 1807 at the age of 34. Okay, so there is, and this is the botching. English light dragoons. The general who lost his sabre in the river during the action was wounded and taken prisoner by a German dragoon named Bergman. Yeah? Approximately 60 of Lefebvre's men were also captured by the 10th Hussars, who were commanded by Paget. Other French officers' casualties include Lieutenant Botched Campaign. Yeah? The whole of the story is like a poem. Yeah? Yeah, it's like a poem. The general was paroled then at Cheltenham after he had botched it, and all of it is a huge joke in all of world history. It's just a belly laugh to get rid of the poor people, and there's the converging roads again. Okay, he made, and this is another, every one of the Ashby places in Great Britain near Milton Keynes, yeah, the massive Open University joke. My wife is going to do degrees at the Open University, and they wrote to her immediately after she left my home, like the pension companies that are really elite pension companies. Yeah, my wife works for the government. She has no need to comply with the rules like the Rothschilds and their accounts. The General and Stephanie became extremely popular locally in Ashby de la Zouch. Yeah, I did not have room for that on the map. Yeah, it will be on a Roman road. Especially those in Cheltenham were outraged and all manner of inaccurate. Yeah, so your relatives get killed, all of the innocents get killed. These people then become, yeah, the politicians that take over the whole of the world. And one of the Roman roads runs through a place called Belgique, which is the Brussels fraud, and it's right down there near the Hay Film Festival. Right then, let's get on to another tab. So do you get the picture? All of the death camps that we understand, it is the places where they plan the campaign and the stealing of all of the assets and the land from that country. All wars, all sides. And in Cheltenham, this is the Piso Cavalry. Okay, so this is the list of the top 20 double agents in the French cavalry. Yeah, this is number 17. General Hippolyte. Yeah, remember the architects who built the Rothschild houses all over Europe with the Hippolyte name? Maria Guillaume de Rosnivin, Vinen, sorry. Comte de Pierre with the pi word in it. Don't know where that is. I'm going to have a look for that. But the story is so brazen that I don't have time to check out every little angle. Same stinking badges as the British police. Right then, I don't think I highlighted anything. I just wanted to show you how big the treason is. Okay, there's the list of names. Let's read it, just in case any of them are your relatives. You're particularly proud of dismembering the world this way. General Louis Pour Montbrun, that's the Browns, yeah, the Brunswicks. General Antoine Louis Charles Lassalle, General Francois Etienne Kellerman, General John Joseph Ange de Hautepole, General Claude Pierre Payol, General Etienne, that could be the parole word launched, Etienne Marie Antoine Champion de Nonsouty, General Frederick Louis Henri Voltaire, yeah, the artwork that Hannah so admires in her collection, yeah, General the Watteau stuff, General Charles Lefebvre Desnouettes, we've seen him, General Nicolas Dalman, General Pierre David Edward Colbert de Chabanais, General Marie Victor Nicolas de Fay Latour Marbourg, General Claude Etienne Guillot, General Auguste France Marie de Colbert Chabanais. Yeah, now I understand the folk singers from America with the Colbert affiliation. Yeah, when the sun goes in, when they sing their inspiring songs, and I totally understand it. That's like the Red River Valley for the false socialists that play the guitar, as all of the innocent Americans go to their deaths and Fort Knox get loaded with their gold. General Jean-Pierre Joseph Brière, General Jean-Louis Brigitte d'Espagne, General Louis Lepic, General Hippolyte Marie Guillaume de Rosnivin, Comte de Piré, General Francis Fumier Salves. More on the top 20 French cavalry commanders. That's the Piso horse through all of world history, the marshals of the horse, now the Vestes. Okay, I don't think I've highlighted any more, but you can look at all of them if you want. It's all on Wikipedia, but it may not be there for very much longer. So here's Pittsford, where I fished. I've got a charming friend, yeah, who's from the Northampton region. She did not know Princess Diana, and she's heavily involved in religious administration. And she's charming, and occasionally she cuddles me when she gets a conscience about things, and she helped me with my sectioning. Okay, Roman Road, 700 AD, Saxon churches. Yeah, and this is I forget which of the Roman roads it's on, and this is the Pittsford story. Okay, Northampton sand covers most of the centre of the parish, but in the east of the village it's overlaid by clay. It's the feat of clay and building your house on sand jokes. Yeah, that's why the mansions that were used by the double agents are now buried in the pits that are the reservoirs. Yeah, so that God's control of all of the flooding and all of the prosperity in when people are behaving goodly, yeah, and all of the famines that when they are behaving badly the gods were allowed to impose, all of that is gone now. Okay, right. So this is the St. Wilfrid. Yeah, this is the launch of the Anglo-Saxon jokes. There's another lake or another place. Yeah, there's the Roman settlements all around it and the early Saxon settlements. Okay, with the Christian cross. Yeah, they're the pagans, remember. The Romans bring the church to them and massacre them en masse. And King Caractacus has a harem, and that for the Masons is really a great belly laugh, because the harem is the equivalent of the Mithraeum that Field McConnell and all of the Masons globally know about. Field McConnell has the Masons' pennies, yeah, the pi pennies hanging on his wall. Yeah, right then. So I'm going to go down in case I don't get through the whole of the tabs. So here's Ravensthorpe, another place where I used to fish. Yeah, and there's the same names. So this is also in the Northampton region. Yeah, and Princess Di's massive pile is there. Okay, that's Althorpe. And remember, Princess Diana was a vengeful woman. She had sex with King Juan Carlos, so that the sexual activities of Camilla and Prince Charles. And when I played yesterday a little clip of the Queen at the races, yeah, getting really excited about winning 18 quid yeah, at the Derby, yeah, they had Camilla all over the front page of the papers doing exactly the same, yeah, all of the excitement at the races, yeah, and that is the whole of the surveillance of me. There's Long Buckby, where I went with my wife, yeah, and they are really spirited rugby players, and I was very impressed by them, because all of them wear blazers and smart suits in the place, yeah, right next door to Ravensworth. And this is where some of the elite families that are involved further down, Ravensthorpe. So here's the Rentons, the Cottons. You remember Billy Cotton and all of the people that are involved in celebrity activities. So this is the village of Gilsborough, and that is the Guils, that is the icon on all of those Normandy shields. Yeah, the Goulds, Renton family, who were prominent in the village of Goulsborough. During the Second World War, it was headquarters of the 4 Corps, yeah, and the whole of Northampton is dedicated to military activity, yeah, and the place where the steelworks is the same joke about the massive Vietnam War issue that was the making of the Deer Hunter film, yeah. All of the steelworks and all of the munitions factories, all of the cheap labour comes from all over the world, and by the time they get into Northampton, it's Corby, Northampton. Yeah, and that's the blackbirds that are the Corbys, yeah, in Shakespearean output. Okay, there's the Harrington Aryan Master Race Museum, yeah, just to show that it was us, Windsor stammering king. Okay, I think there is little else for that. And when I report these things or find them, the companies with the name that I'm reporting come touring around my building estate. Okay, and here we go, let's go down. So, British planning and preparations to resist invasion on land. Do you see how it works? Yeah, the whole world is carved up this way. And there's a reference to one of them, the people that I'm very fond of from that region. I will not tell you what her name is. Okay, so here's the Cotton Manor, and this time they're linked to the Mosleys of fascism, and this is the carving up of the 100-acre components, and Cotton Manor is Northamptonshire too. And the Bluebell Woods all through Hertfordshire are absolutely beautiful. And I'm not sure why I highlighted this. My mate Jack Benson, who's involved in the asset stripping in Switzerland still, he was a scientist. He taught me how to do neuroscience and how to learn how the heart works and the muscles work and the nerves work, yeah, and the nerve gases work. All of that I learned from Dr. Jack Benson, who went to Syria as an archaeologist just to see if he could find treasures there. He now sells them to the Swiss, yeah, based in Basel, where the Bank of International Settlements are, and he's a Kiwi and he carries an umbrella with him everywhere he goes, because he understands that God is the determinant of global weather patterns. Okay, lovely Cotton Manor. I'm not sure why I was sensationalised by this place. No, I have not marked it. Oh, there's the Mosley linkage to the world's fascists who trained Lord Haw Haw, the last man, to be executed for treason in Britain. Yeah, because he was Lord Haw Haw, the propagandist for Hitler Rothschild, who was born in Innsbruck, like the joke about Lord Brookdale that was Hannah Rothschild's husband. He's never married again, and I've not given up hope. The conversations will be fascinating. Right then, so here's Publius Piso again. Oh, so here's the history. Let's see if there's anything more sinister. Okay, Publius. Okay, this is 8 years before the Mayflower sailed. We've got the history of this man. Okay, this one has highlighting. So Gilsborough is in Northamptonshire as well. Yeah, the gills are on everybody's coat of arms as they come out of France, bearing the religion and bearing the sword with the Christian cross on the end. Okay, this is Daventry, Northamptonshire, near Kettering. Gilsborough is a village in the Daventry district. Gilsborough and Nortoft, yeah, the former referring to the Roman fort. Okay, so all of it is on Roman roads. The Churchmount Road housing stands where Gilsborough Hall once stood. The mount is separated from the main road by a large embankment, which is the remains of a Roman wall. The wall was part of a Roman fort, an outpost of the settlement at West Haddon. So this is believed to have been the work of Publius Ostorius Scapula under the reign of Claudius. The larger part of the camp walls have long since been removed, and it's noted that when the south bank was removed in the 19th century, many skeletons were found. The fields behind the church mount not only include Roman remains, but also a historical landscape related to the former Gilsborough Hall. The brickwater tower of the hall and the hall gates still remain. I think this may be the links to Caractacus. On 22nd July, 4 women and 1 man were hanged at Abingdon Gallows on this is the witch trials. Of those 5, Agnes Brown and her daughter Joan Vaughan or Varnum were from Guilsborough. They stood accused of bewitching a local noblewoman, Elizabeth Belcher, née Fisher, and her brother-in-law, Master Avery, and of killing by sorcery a child and numerous livestock. Okay, so the witch cults and the burning at the stake of all of the pagans by the false Christians, 8 years before the Mayflower sailed, with the false Christians on board. Yeah, and this is the Ashby linkage, Cold Ashby Lane, that's Ashby de la Zouch, and all of the death camps for the poor, yeah, but they become the elite rich people's place of residence as they transit out of Holland and into Cape Cod in America, which is the codpiece joke, which is the fish being the penis in the Bible story, and the loaves and fishes tale in the Piso Bible. It's said that St. Ethelred, also known as St. Audrey, was from the same place. Yeah, and so the Rentons were also heavily involved in the local women's institute, and they were responsible for the tapestry of the witches in the village hall. Yeah, that's the Bayeux tapestry, or through Rothschild Beyer history. Yeah, the Rentons lived at Guilsborough House. So that is not the link. So Publius, let's go to Publius. Remember, this is a member of the Piso family. He's a member of the Pistorius joke. Yeah, the Pistorius has the word Piso in it. Yeah, Publius is a Piso, and all that takes me into the favourite pub called the Hadrian that we used to go to. Okay, there's a series. There's the picture. Do you recognise the Great Escape movie? Yeah, that was designed by Publius Ostorius Scapula. Okay, there it is, with the turrets for all of the guards to stand on with their Krupp's munitions in their hands as all of them tunnel out of those buildings. Yeah, and the man who is the man with the catcher's mitt, who goes to the cooler, which is just outside the territory, and he gets that special treatment with his mate, who's the stupid little guy that, like Ronnie Balfour Corbett, plays the man who's prepared to try and climb the fence. Yeah, and Ronnie Balfour Corbett makes the Colditz jokes openly on the telly. Yeah, and all of the people that come out of Colditz are the massive hotel owners who sold their hotels back to the Krupps, yeah, and then put them into insolvency when I declared all of that. That's Alistair Brooks of the Ednam House, and his son Ralph, who's not the Ralph in the Sound of Music film. I am 16 going on 17. Yeah, and all of the jokes about getting the number 13 and the massive political transition. Okay, so this is Publius Quintus, 50 AD, and those are the designs of the camps that they created. Yeah, Roman Britain, images. Yeah, isn't that funny? For the Great Escape until Steve McQueen dies at the age of 40. God thinks that bit is funny. Okay, Publius Ostorius Scapula on all the Piso coins already. Yeah, and here we've got King Caractacus the Saxon. Okay, and there is all of the harems for King Caractacus, and the aggressive wars between the Saxons and the Romans, who try and keep the thing intact. And all of the names are a direct joke at the Piso history. Okay, the capture of the Caractacus. Okay, so this is the song that you've just seen, or I would not show you for copyright reasons, about Rolf Harris and all of the global Freemasons singing about the taking over the whole world by false religion. Yeah, he is a Piso. It's got the word Piso in it. He is a Piso family member. Yeah, and that's the same story as I told you about the usual suspects, and the links to all of those jokes. Okay, so this is the Quintus Ostorius Scapula of the Praetorian Guard. Yeah, a appointed by Augustus. That's the Augusta Golf Course, and it is the massive place in Bavaria that we talked about yesterday, and all of the money lending families. The area described has led to a discussion about the role of the Fossway that's out of York and the reason that Braveheart was stopped there. And the reason that they get the massive floods, and that is where, at the top of the Fossway in York, that the Merchant Adventurer Company was the company that funded the Mayflower, the Little James, and all of the ships that sailed with the elites, including the Delanois, that were the FDR family. Yeah, and that's Delaney's donkey into America and into World War II with no apologies about the brutalization of Japan, who are just their slaves through all of world history, and they used the German rocket scientists and nuclear physicists from Göttingen and Heidelberg to make the bomb that did for Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The sun's coming out in a bizarre, inverted way. Yet those are the biggest genocides that the world has ever committed, all in the name of the Icknield Way and all of the Roman legacies. Yeah, here's the Valerian Victress. Yeah, my wife's name's in all of the great calamities that occur around the world. Yeah, that's the Valdivia earthquakes in Chile, when the fascist was Pinochet committing all of the ordinary people, including the decent professionals like doctors and teachers, yeah, to their death in the massive stadia massacres in the 1960s. The biggest earthquake that Chile had known, yeah, until my wife left me. We got a bigger one that year. Okay, so a municipum at Verelium, St Albans, right next door to my wife's home. Yeah, this is the massive jokes about St Albans being a training place for the world's elites on both sides of the Atlantic. Yeah, the people that are in the Usual Suspects movie were trained with George W. Bush's relatives at St Albans, and the St Albans person that was trained there became the UN investigator for all of the Syria, and her name is Amos. Okay, Caractacus, whose tribe, the Catuveleni, yeah, that's the Calpurnius Piso joke into it already. Yeah, it's absolutely massive, yet there is no integrity in any religion. Thank you to the Jehovah's for taking my humorous comments on your corrupted institution lightly and not yet stabbing me in the back. Okay, so and here's the links to the River Severn, which is the Daubeny bit, and it is the Hay Film Festival, and all of the loss of all of the salmon in those rivers because of the affiliation to Salomon Rothschild and Alex Salmond, and all of the Scottish freedom, the suppression of that story. Okay, so here's the Exeter link to the Roman roads, to the Bothams, and to the former Celtic manager. All of them are registered in their massive frauds in Exeter, which is why my wife was placed on their directorates as a secretary. Yeah, 3 different registers for my wife, 3 different birth dates, and all of it is a massive scam. Yeah, just to defame my family name. They will never do that. Yeah, and thank you to all of the people all across my town and all across my region who are now telling me that every time I meet them on the pavements. Even the colleagues that worked with my wife. Yeah, and all of those colleagues were named Kerr, like the new MP for our region. It is just a massive stitch up. There is no democracy, there is no freedom. Yeah, okay, so Exeter, Leicester Premier League, Longshamps, yeah, Leicester's on a Roman road too, and the Longshamps are the rats up the, yeah, and the Humber place is where they got all of the people for the Pilgrim Fathers, and that is the Borodon jokes and the Middlesbrough jokes. Okay, so the Fossa is the York staging point for Braveheart and the Viking myths. This is exactly the same route that line up all of the parole escape mechanisms for Napoleon's elites. Yeah, take you into Cheltenham. It explains Robin Hood's Lincoln Green at the top right of the scam, and out there, and even Mrs. Tony Blair. I'm not sure, that must be one of the place names on the maps. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get to the bottom first. We'll come back and read some of this later if I don't get finished. So here's the Ashby de la Zouch place. Yeah, quite stunned. These are all new towns like Hemel Hempstead, and Hemel Hempstead means no God in some bizarre way. I can't remember how I found that out. Yeah, and Gott in Himmel is God in heaven. Yeah, so the Harrington Museum is in Ashby. Yeah, like the joke about the internment camp for Europe's elites. One has noticed that all of the posh parole rest homes for the elites, let's see what I say about that. Traitors and cowards that flee from elsewhere tend to be from Ashby, did this, that and the other. The Dr. Pottersville Walter Scott Club joke about the war dead they create then turn to dust and flour. 300 pages for the Northampton region alone. That's 300 pages of this is the military activity, yeah, that you've got in the Northampton region. Yeah, and it's a massive list. It took me ages to upload it. Yeah, and my best friends with the Piezo dog, the Spinoni, yeah, who were involved in my sectioning and hug me every now and again, yeah, they are massively committed to their children becoming military people. It's just amazing how stupid the world's people are. Okay, and so shall I go down through that? Let's go down. I want to show you the Roman roads jokes. It's absolutely huge. So do you get being on parole if you're an elite person intended becoming a world owning person? Yeah, and your dog on the end of the lead is the ancient biblical fraud joke, and you're a religious cleric and administrator for that, and you're having trouble with your eyesight, and you know all about the stories in the Bible about people who get blinded because of acts of God. Okay, there is the massive jokes. Okay, cataract onium. Yeah, that's the waterfalls that are created all over the world. Churchill Falls, all of the massive falls in the Victoria Place that is the Nile Valley. Yeah, and what was the ones that caught my eye? So Carinium is actually the place that is the Cirencester. Yeah, the second biggest Roman community after Londinium, and it's right next to the Cotswolds where all of the frauds are involving my wife's family. Okay, and there's the Mancunian link. That's the naming of Manchester based on the Roman road. And here we've got the more familiar names, and there's Dover is Dubris. Yeah, there's the Camalodunum, which is Norfolk, which is the Dukes of Norfolk, and that's the reason why they have to change their name, and that is Camelot. That was written, the story was written by the popes in Rome. Okay, there is the Bristol region where Hannah Rothschild now runs the book festival. Okay, I'm going to take you down to the bottom of this one because it is really, really sickening. There is the link to the rugby captain for the Italian rugby team called Parisi, right next to York, where the Pilgrim Fathers were funded. Yeah, the Merchant Adventurer Company, still existing. I've got all of their Ponzi shelves and all of their director numbers. That's right next door to the Ermine Street for Longshanks, and that is the ermine that the royal princess wears around her neck as they execute her. That's the Anne Boleyn video that I keep playing with Mary Queen of Scots, with the Mickey Mouse ears and her hairdo. It's all a massive joke, and all of the innocent women and men get killed, and all of the tyrants are still running Buckingham Palace, and the Windsor